This is Kate, and this is the Starseed Report. This is episode number 1 of doing this. This is for July 2024, about solstice time. I'm recording this on June 17th. Okay, so let's just put a frame around this and then talk about what exactly the Starseed Report is all about. I am a starseed. If you're listening to this, you probably are as well. If you wander around your house muttering, I would like to go home, hey, welcome to the club. I do this quite often. I do have a home here on Earth. It is not where I am living currently, but for some reason I'm supposed to be here. So making the best of it. I am getting tons of intuitive messages. I'm getting tons of reflections in my physical reality that I am to be doing this now. For those of you who have been subscribed to the YouTube channel, I was doing some tarot readings for a while until life just got overbearing and couldn't keep it up. I work in the tech field, but I have been dabbling with psychology, spirituality, multidimensionality, and visits from other beings since I was a kid. So far longer than technology has been in my life. I'll just say that. Technology comes easy to me, though, and so that's where I've been making my money, but my passion is just not in it. So what are we going to be doing? First of all, I'm going to talk a little bit about the planetary energies and the downloads that I have been getting to share with you. First of all, astrologically speaking, there are a few things going on that are very important. First of all, there are 2 Capricorn full moons on June 21st and then on July 21st. So right about solstice time, we're going to have a full moon in the early degrees of Capricorn and then a month later in the later degrees of Capricorn. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Interestingly, in the middle of all of this, at the end of June, so a few days after that first full moon, Saturn's going to go retrograde. And when a planet goes retrograde, especially a large planet, it's our karma. This is going to shift focus for many of us. And because we've got those full moons, and full moons are all of the intensity, all of the energy, all of the emotion, all of your thoughts as well. This is an 8-year, 2024. Add that all up, and we have an 8, and 8 is ruled by Saturn. So it is a Saturnian year. I have a ton of Saturn in my chart. I have been living under Saturn for the majority of my life. Saturn and I have come to some terms. It is still the taskmaster for me, but I have deep respect for the structure that Saturn gives us in our lives. When a planet turns retrograde, it is not actually going backwards, but it appears to be going backwards. Again, this reality is a matrix, right? It is data points. If you smell something right now, that is a data point. If you see something, what you see right now is all just a bunch of data points. My voice is just frequency, data points, and your senses interpret all of this, and your mind gives it all meaning. Our interface to this reality actually is that our thoughts give meaning to data points. The data points are not the reality. Our thoughts and our beliefs are the reality. So when you hear things like thoughts become things, our beliefs create our reality, it's true, because the data points of the sun is setting or it's just getting darker outside, you have a data point of perceiving a change in light source. And then you give it meaning of, well, the sun is setting. So you see how that is? It's like the sun is setting, but you are giving that meaning. It's just a bunch of data points, right? And science helps us sort these data points. We come up with theories and then hypotheses, and we test those things. And that's how we understand our reality. But our thoughts about things give it all meaning. If we don't think about things, if we just allow them to be and don't assign it meaning and just sit with whatever is happening, it loses its power over us. Something that's really important to understand. So the structures of this world, we have to be really careful about the meaning we assign to them. Now, Saturn going retrograde, it is our perception of it going retrograde. It is our data point of it going retrograde. It appears to be going backwards. And that appearance has a reflection in your experience of reality. So in your chart, your Vedic or whatever you're looking at, it's going retrograde everywhere. you can see Saturn going backwards, and it starts looking at the house behind it. So if Saturn is right now sitting in your 6th house and it starts going backwards, it starts to bring up issues again from the 5th house. So the 5th house would be issues of things about creativity, your children, how you play in this world, those types of things. So with it going retrograde, it's like going back and did we really get this lesson? Did we really understand what was going on here? Do we really understand who we are as we relate to the things in this house? So look at your chart wherever things are. What do we have though? We have 2 Capricorn full moons and Saturn going retrograde. There's a ton of Capricorn energy, Saturnian energy being focused here. Now, Saturn has always been somewhat of a taskmaster, and it tells us, it makes us feel like we don't know what we're doing, or we always need to learn more. So for like Aries, this is your 10th house that is ruled by Capricorn. And so the 10th house is an area where you feel like not good enough in your career, your reputation, that type of thing. When you do put all of your energy and all of your focus and you work really hard on that area, you achieve so much and you get great stature, but you never feel like it's enough. You never feel like it is something that you fully deserve. Taurus, that's in your 9th house. These are things related to spirituality, long distance travel, publishing. It's also your luck house. So these are things that that you feel like you need to work on. And if you put a lot of energy there, you have good experiences. Wherever you have Capricorn, it's the area where you need to like work harder. And this is talking about rising sign. I don't do the whole sun sign astrology or whatever. So rising sign, wherever it's popping out, wherever Capricorn is for your particular chart, you can go find a chart calculator if you're not quite sure. Anyway, this time period between the solstice and this Capricorn full moon and then July 21st, Saturn and understanding the things that you working for is going to be just of heightened importance. Now, at the end of, I believe it is at the end of July, I pull up my calendar, at the end of July, Venus is going to become visible. It's going to become visible in Gemini, and that is going to really bring some focus on areas of communication, areas of wherever Gemini is in your chart. When it becomes visible, and I believe that's a sidereal astrology, that is what that is showing, but it is becoming visible. When Venus becomes visible in the sky, its influence is stronger. So that's something to be aware of. Venus is also your money, luxury, relationships. It rules both Taurus and Libra. So it rules like your relationships and partnerships. It also rules things that feel good, luxuries, taking care of yourself, beautiful things. So Venus is just lovely when it becomes visible. It is going to put a lot of focus, attention, beauty, and grace in that area of your chart. In terms of the channeled messages that I received, the visions that I received of things that we need to be dealing with right now, I saw a very challenging person on a piece of paper, and then I saw this page being turned. And then less than an hour later, I was listening to a podcast, and somebody kept talking about turning the page, starting at something new, turning the page. And I got that such as a strong visual of turning this page, of leaving something behind, of rewriting a story or closing out a chapter, more like it, closing out a chapter of your life. Like that is happening now. This thing that's been coming up for you in the last, the fall of last year, there's been something that's been coming up related to this Capricorn energy, almost nitpicky energy or perfectionistic energy. It's just this really almost harshness that's been around. And it's time to turn the chapter, close that chapter. Did you get what you needed out of it? If so, it's now time to leave that behind. You do not have to, this is not a life sentence with this individual. And I saw this individual on a page, and that page was then being turned. It's time to close that chapter out of your life. The other two things that I have gotten very strongly were heart-centered meditation. So breathing meditation that you focus on your heart center and get heart-brain coherence. So you know that your heart has more neurons than your brain does. They have been doing studies since the 1970s about heart intelligence, and that our heart is our intuitive center, and it informs so much of your body just through the energy, through the biochemistry. Your heart is an intelligence center, but we never put our attention and energy there, do we? We're always like up in our heads thinking about things. Our ego wants to solve all of the problems. Our ego wants to think through everything. Our ego wants to protect us. Thank you, ego. You're so brilliant. We're so grateful that you are there. Go do accounting or something, if you would. Your heart, though, knows the truth. Your heart doesn't worry about things. Your heart's not concerned about things. Your heart knows. And just doing some heart-centered meditations to get you out of your head, out of your thoughts, and centered in truth of who you really are. Your heart is your connection to your higher self. And so I got this very strongly as an urge to do heart-centered meditation. If you go to heartmath.com, I believe, they have an actual course, like it's a free course that you can take where they just walk you through how to just basically breathe into your heart and how to get that heart-brain coherence so that those two intelligence centers start working together in order to support who you really are. All right. Once you're doing that, it's going to be much easier to do this last thing that I received as something that's really important right now, and that is to prioritize rest and reconnection to higher self. If you are in a calm state, you are more likely to be able to hear your higher self. You're more likely to be able to really connect to who you really are. All of the distractions and the so much that just wants your attention right now, whether it's fun things on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok reels, whatever you're watching, whatever you're giving your attention to is draining you. And it is time to put down the devices for just a short amount of time every single day and reconnect to the center of who you really are. Reconnect to where your attention really should be most of the time. And that is on your heart, on your soul, on your higher self, on your inner knowing. Because all of these things that are trying to pull your attention away are giving you dopamine hits. It's making you feel great, but it is detaching you from what is real and what is true. And what is real and true is who you really are. It is within your heart. And I think so many times we sacrifice who we really are and we give that up so that we can have a dopamine hit, or we can have a connection with someone, or we can feel safe. I had a very strong impression come up with me personally. I was feeling this anxiety, and Spirit told me very loudly to just let that anxiety, just let it be there. Don't try to distract it away. Don't try to figure it out, and don't try to satiate it. And the more I sat there with this anxiety, that was not me. It was a feeling. I am not anxious. I was feeling anxious. This anxiety was there, but I disassociated from the anxiety. And what I got was that it was a receptor looking for validation, looking for attention, looking for someone in my external world to tell me that something was okay, that I was doing a good job, that I was looking for some kind of validation. And I realized that there was a part of me as a little kid that wanted that or needed that and had to have it in order to feel safe. And I was feeling unsafe and anxious because I hadn't received it for something that I had done. I did not receive any accolades. I didn't receive any reward. And Spirit asked me to just sit with it so that I could learn that I am okay. No matter what feeling I have, I am okay. And to not take action in order to make the feeling go away. Because too many times we have these negative feelings come up and we do whatever it takes in order to make that feeling go away. We make ourselves smaller so other people feel more powerful. We sacrifice something of our true selves so that we can fit into this negative situation. Sometimes the only reason we ever sacrifice ourselves is because we're trying to quiet that anxiety. We're trying to quiet that receptor that's not getting what it wants. And it almost feels like it's another person or another part of yourself that is seeking for something so that it can be quiet. And we think we need that thing. We think we need that attention, that validation, that love, that recognition. Whatever it is, we think that the anxiety tells us we think that we need this. It almost feels like an addiction pattern type of thing. Almost feels like an addiction thing. Really realizing what is you and what is patterns that you had when you were a kid in order to get what you needed, in order to feel safe, that don't serve you in adulthood anymore. It's helpful to love that part of yourself and just say, thank you for keeping me safe. Thank you for watching out for me. Thank you for being there. But I don't need you anymore. You don't need to do that. I got this now. And just let it go. But you need to be cognizant. You need to be connected to self. You need to know who you really are and not try to numb it away with a dopamine hit from an Instagram scroll, wherever the algorithms are taking you. I am a little concerned with where things are going in terms of how much people are on their devices and how much these devices do disconnect us from our true selves. We are so disconnected from nature, from our true selves. And this is just a recent phenomenon in the history of humanity to be sucked into these tiny little screens and so disconnected from the natural environment. It is unnatural for us to live this way, to move from the boxes of our house to the boxes of our car to the boxes of our offices or schools or stores, and never to spend a moment outdoors in nature, listening to birds and watching the sunrise and really connecting to nature. And I know sometimes nature is terrible. I live in the land of fire ants. I get it. But you really need to keep your wits about you. And I'll talk more about this in a future episode. I'll talk about some of the Rudolf Steiner writings and Ahriman. Been doing some research on that. It's very interesting. And the Rosicrucians talked about it too. But that, I could go on forever. Anyway, if you can't wait for my episode, go search up some stuff with the Rosicrucians and dark journalist Gigi Young on YouTube does a bunch of lectures that are super fascinating. And there's this whole movement to disconnect humans from who they really are and disconnecting us from our spiritual selves. Here's the thing, though. Your spiritual self is all that. You are a spiritual being having a physical experience. But the denser you go into the physical experience and the disconnection from the spiritual nature of who you really are, you're losing out on everything that Neuralink and all of these technological advancements are promising you. You already have it. That's the thing. I've gotten this as a huge message recently. My dog got fleas. He's looking at me like, what did I do? Brought fleas in the house and so I treat the dogs when they go outside, but I don't do anything for the cats. And dog brought fleas in the house, gave them to the cats. Cats then became patient zero, and I kept giving the dogs baths, never thinking that, hey, maybe the cats had something. Yeah, so I've been fighting with fleas, and I've been like, why is this happening? And then come to find out that I've had the solution in the house all along. That has been baking soda, salt, and diatomaceous herbs, and a little bit of essential oils. And I seem to be getting a leg up on these buggers, but I had the answer all along. I didn't need to do all of the buying of chemicals and the buying of sprays and all of these things. I had all of the natural ingredients all on my own. You have everything that you need. That was my spiritual lesson from all of the fleas. You have all that you need. You will always have all that you need. You just have to call in the knowledge of spirit. And that's what I'm here for. I am here to help you get attuned to who you really are. If you are, where are we? If you are a Gemini, this Capricorn stuff is sitting all on your 8th house, and it's time to really transform who you know yourself to be. It is time to heighten your intuition, heighten your awareness, go deeper into the knowledge of who you really are. If you are a Virgo, it is time for you to play. It is time for you to do what is fun. Life is too short to not do what is fun. And then if you are a Capricorn, first of all, my Capricorn friends, I have numerous Capricorn friends. I am so sorry. Life has been hard for you for the past chunk of forever. This is maybe just a reminder for you to really understand who you are in this physical world. Who are you in your body? And get to know that. Episode 1, I'm losing steam, so I guess I'm done. It's almost time for me to go to bed and have some hopefully amazing dreams now that I'm opening up to spirit and saying, yes, I will do this. I am looking forward to it, and I'm super glad that you are on the journey with me. So some of you subscribed on my old website. I had website problems that I don't feel like solving, so I'm just moving over to Substack. Their platform has gotten interesting, so you subscribed over there. I have proof of it. I just copied you over here, and so that's how you subscribed to the Starseed Report over here. It was atlanteanstarseed.com. You did put in your email, but you can unsubscribe if you want to, or you can tell me I'm completely whacked. I'm going to be doing more YouTube. I am going to be doing stuff on Substack, and we will see where the Starseed Report takes us. Thank you for being here. And I will have July readings done. I am going to do July readings, and I am going to just do these podcast episodes as I get the impetus from spirit to do them. But I do feel like the 2 Capricorn full moons as Saturn's going retrograde is just a movement of energy to really reconnect something for you and to solidify. That's what Saturn does. It's solidifying something. So wherever it is in your chart, drop me a comment, send me an email, whatever. I'd be interested in knowing how this plays out for you. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you soon.